What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Gonna talk about Anthony Joshua. He's saying now he did an interview with Sky Sports, saying that he prefers the fight to be in Cardiff. He's now speaking. It's kind of contradicted what he said after the Andy Ruiz rematch. He said he wouldn't mind going back to the scene of the crime. That's what he said the day after the fight. He said, I wouldn't mind going back to the scene of the crime and correcting that wrong and fighting Andy Ruiz in Madison Square Garden. But now he's singing a different tune, and I wonder why. I think Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn and Rob McCracken has gotten his ear and say, look here, you need to come out here and do an interview and try to persuade public opinion and that you want this fight to take place in Cardiff. We want this fight back in the UK. By hook or by crook, we want this fight back in the UK. And we need you to come out and speak on it, man. He said that in the interview, he says that, he's been listening to Andy Ruiz talking to me about he's been reluctant to fight in the UK. And he said, but the problem with that is he doesn't call any shots about where that fight takes place or what venue that fight takes place in or where it takes place in. So he's basically saying that Andy Ruiz has no power, but he said he is a champion, and he said we're considering making this fight happen in a neutral venue, but that he prefers for this fight to be in the UK. Now, he goes on to say that the first fight that took place between him and Andy Ruiz, that he never really wanted to go in he never felt he should have went to America in the first place. He said what they built there in the UK was pretty special, and that they should make fighters come over there and fight. Why would he have to come over to America and fight? But Eddie Hearn, despite the claims that AJ works for him, he works, AJ works for, no, he works for AJ. AJ actually works for him. And he wanted Anthony Joshua to fight on the zone, fight in America to try to prop up the zone and upgrade their subscriptions. The zone's putting a lot of pressure on Eddie Hearn to bring fights over here to the United States, AJ fights over to the United States to help their subscriptions increase. So that's what that was about. But AJ never was a fan of that. So if he is the ultimate shot caller like Eddie Hearn portrays him to be, he could have said, look, Eddie, you got the deal going on with the zone. That's your deal. I'm signed with Sky Sports exclusively. And, I'm on a fight-by-fight deal with the zone, but I'm not tied to the zone at all. I just had, I'm not tied to the zone. The deal that I have will be on a fight-by-fight deal, but I'm exclusively with Sky Sports. And he should have said, look, I want this fight in the UK. And that's what it is, man, because what we built over here is very special, and I want to continue to show my gratitude to the UK fans and put on big fights in the UK. So he could have said that, but, he's not a person that's, like I said, calling shots. Eddie Hearn, the contract he got with Eddie Hearn's got power of attorney over him. When Eddie Hearn was negotiating with Deontay Wilder for that fight late last year, that Eddie Hearn was signing his name to the contract. Anthony Joshua, he's a shot caller. Why was his name not on the contract? Anthony Joshua's name wasn't even on the contract. It was Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing name that was on the contract. So they let you know right then and there that AJ then sold his soul to Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn. That's just what it is. So anyway, another thing he mentioned in the interview was that he said he would, Andy Ruiz was first talking about having that fight in Mexico. He said, okay, now we go to Mexico, and Andy Ruiz's uncle is the referee, and I fight him in his hometown of Tijuana, I still will whoop him. That's basically what he said. And that's kind of funny. He would say that with when all the shenanigans going on in the UK. Let's look back at his fight with Carlos Takam. Why was that fight stopped? Why the hell was that fight stopped? Carlos Takam wasn't in no kind of trouble, wasn't hurt at all, but the referee just jumped in and stopped the fight. The fight was just getting good. Carlos Takam was making, doing good in those fights. He was closing the distance on Anthony Joshua. He was coming on in that fight, and all of a sudden the referee stopped it. Let's look at the Joseph Parker fight. He's fighting Joseph Parker. Every time he get on the inside, the referee breaking it up. Ain't allowing no inside fighting. Like he ain't never heard of the word inside fighting. Like this is going to be a fight from distance. We're going to fight this fight in the middle of the ring. It's going to be from a distance. All that inside fighting up on the ropes. No, we're not going to do that here. What? Are you crazy? You just got through watching Chris Arreola versus Adam Kanaki, that inside fighting they was doing, a candidate for the fight of the year? Are you crazy? But that's the kind of shenanigans they got going on in the UK. That's the kind of shenanigans they got going on in the UK. And that's one of the many reasons why Andy Ruiz don't want to go over there. He also saw what happened with Oscar Rivas and his people. They got the short end of the stick over there against Dylan White. Dylan White fails a PED test. They have a secret hearing with the BBBOC, and Oscar Rivas and his people don't know nothing about it. They sweep it on the rug and they go ahead with the fight, knowing that he's got a banned substance in the system. He got 2 banned substances in the system, and they go ahead with that fight anyway. He don't want to be a part of that, don't want to be a part of those shenanigans, that unlevel playing field, and he has a right to voice his displeasure with that. You look at Bob Arum. Bob Arum is out here saying that he don't trust the British Board of Boxing. He don't trust them at all. He's worried about his number 1 fighter, Vasily Lomachenko, going over there getting the short end of the stick. Like I say, the testing over there is absolutely ridiculous. You don't have to inform your opponent that you failed a test, and you can have a meeting with the commissioner over there, and the opponent don't know nothing about it, and y'all can just sweep that under the rug and go ahead with the fight. And now, what's going on with this B sample? This B sample, they saying don't have to come out till a year, so they could just ride that out to the end to 2020. Ride that out to the end of toward the end of 2020, and come back and say, yeah, it was dirty, but we give him a year and a half suspension, and since he's already been not fighting within a year, he just got to sit out another 6 months, and he can get right back in the ring like ain't nothing happened. Or they could just say, shit, well, he been out a year and a half. We gave him a year suspension, time served. That's what they do here in the States, man. When you might be in court fighting for your freedom, and it might take a year and a half to go through the court system, and during that year and a half you sitting in the jail cell, and then when you keep fighting, you fight, and then they come and you have a court hearing, and they come back with a guilty verdict. Say give you 2 years, but you already been sitting in a year and a half. That's time served. You don't have to do 6 months. That's the kind of shenanigans they doing over there in the UK. That's exactly what they did with Tyson Fury. As you notice, when he was suspended, and he went to the they drugged that out, and then he ended up basically getting a time served. He said, well, you've been out 2 years, so you just come on back. You've been out 2 years, fighting this PED, drug testing, found with some BDs in your system, found with positive tests. You fought there, you've done your 2 years, and Tyson Fury was able to come back, based on time served situation. That's what I think they're doing with the Dylan White. They're gonna ride this thing out, and Dylan White's gonna sit on the sideline, and once they come back with the sample, if it comes back dirty, they'll just say, he's basically been out for a year and time served, and he'll be able to come right back. I think that's what they're doing. Or they might be pulling some other shenanigans. They might be doing some backroom deals with all them people tied in together. They all in cahoots. Might be doing working with the UCAD to come back and with a test that says, oh, this test found that he was negative. The other test came back positive. This test came back negative, and then just basically bring Dylan White back anyway. I think that'll be too obvious. Simple fact that the sample A came back positive, and then now you got the B sample never comes back negative when the A samples came back positive. I think all the cases, it's like a 99.9% chance that B sample is gonna come back positive too. I think it's like one case where the B sample came back different than the A sample. That's only one time in all the testing they've done, and people been popping dirt. There's only one example that the B sample came back negative, and and the A sample came back positive. It's never happened. Never happened. So they might try to do that Tyson Fury route, but just let him sit out and then come back and say, well, he was found dirty, but he did his time. It was just he just had an adverse finding. He had very little in the system, and he come back and fight. So watch out for that. Andy Ruiz is don't want to be put in that type of situation. So he's fighting to have that fight take place in the U.S. And AJ them and Eddie Hearn is all but ruled out the United States. They saying, United States is, pretty much not going to have the fight there. So we're looking at a neutral venue. And now, they really want to fight in Cardiff. So that's why they put the battery in Anthony Joshua back, and he's come out here on Sky Sports. All play for Sky Sports. That's Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn. That's their network. He's come out with Sky Sports of all websites. Came out on their website and said that he wants that fight in Cardiff. Wants that fight to happen there. He's like I say, he loves what they built there. They built something very special, and he wants him to take place there. But he says that Andy Ruiz is a champion. And he does have certain rights, and if he wants it to be in a neutral venue, we'll have that fight in a neutral venue. Now, what Andy Ruiz and Al Haymon have to really worry about, even if it's in a neutral venue and Matchroom and Eddie Hearn is running the show, they're gonna still try to implement British boxing, British Boxing Board of Control. They still gonna try to implement a British referee. They're gonna still try to implement British influenced judges or British judges altogether over there. Judges that have been working with other, Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn fights. The guys that the guys that they pull from that pool. They've done many matchroom boxing shows. They're gonna try to pull them judges from that pool, and stuff like that. So if I'm Andy Ruiz, I'm like, look here, I want to have a say so on the judges, and I want to have a say so on the refereeing. You need to have a neutral referee. Forget all this UK referee. We ain't got to have no referee from the USA either. Let's bring a referee in from Canada. Bring a referee in from Spain. Bring a referee from Italy. Whatever professional referees that we could pull from those different countries, let's look into that. Let's look at the judging. We can have a judge from the UK, but we better have a judge from the USA too. You got 3 judges. 1 judge from the UK, 1 judge from the USA. The 3rd judge be neutral. Maybe from Canada, like I said, Italy or Spain, whatever pool of judges you can pull from, professional judges that are approved by the Boxing Commission. You pull those judges in. We're gonna have a level playing field. Cause see, what they want to do is they want to say, oh, we'll put it in a neutral venue, but it's basically they control the card, they control the show. They just gonna have it in a different country, but they gonna still have the same referee that does a lot of their fights, matchroom fights, and they gonna have the same judges that does a lot of their fights, pool of judges, not the same 3. They got a bunch of judges over there, but it's the same pool of judges that judges matchroom fights. They just gonna have it in Nigeria if the fight takes place in Nigeria. That'll be another advantage for and even if you do pull some Nigerian judges, you think those judges are not gonna be favoring their native son and Anthony Joshua? That's crazy. That's crazy, man. So Andy Ruiz don't take the bait about, okay, they did move it to a neutral playing field and sign a contract. Make sure that you have a say-so in the refereeing and the judging, even if it is in a neutral country, considering the fact that they're controlling the show. They're running the show, Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn. So that's what it is, man. Just my 2 cents on it. Andy Ruiz, like I said, he's made it known that he's not going to the UK. AJ is out here. Like I say, he held it up with Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn and Rob McCracken, and they told him, say, look here, man, we need you to do an interview on Sky Sports, and we need you to try to persuade public opinion and to try to get this fight in the UK, man, because we need these belts back, because they know this was their lottery ticket to national prominence. Because before AJ, Eddie Hearn was known as a domestic level promoter. Barry Hearn, that's his career as a domestic level promoter. And Sky Sports has basically been a domestic level network. But with AJ, he's put them on national promises, on the world stage, and they want to get that back. And he's the fighter that does that. Their second most popular fighter is in the UK is Dillian White. And Dillian White is a domestic level fighter, a pay-per-view star over there in the UK, but not on a national level. Not on a national level. He couldn't do a pay-per-view in the US. He's a UK pay-per-view star, and that's their number 2 guy, and he's facing all kind of legal issues with the PED drug testing. So AJ is their cash cow. He is their number 1 guy. He is to them what Canelo Alvarez is to Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy. He's what's keeping them relevant. What's keeping them afloat. If AJ take another L, they go back to Eddie Hearn. See, right now, he's up there right now because of AJ. He's up there mentioned as the top promoters with Bob Arum and Al Haymon is not a promoter, but he's the de facto promoter. He's up there mentioning with those guys, But if AJ loses this fight, he goes back to what he was before, a domestic level promoter, putting on good fights in the UK, but fights that does not mean a lot as far as on a national stage. Pound for pound fighters fighting and nothing like that. Fighters that's fighters on that fighter are just like I say, British level fighters, domestic level fighters, C level fighters, not fighters of A level fighters. So I'm saying not fighters of A level stature, and they don't want to go back to that. They put all their eggs in the Anthony Joshua basket, and they need him to get those titles back. And they know the best way to do that is to have that fight in Cardiff in the UK, where they can stack the deck into AJ's favor. They know he's very, very fragile. They know that he's very, very fragile. So that's what they'll be doing. That's what they'll be doing. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it takes place. But they know his confidence is very fragile. They know they saw how he didn't take in the ring with a lot of confidence, whatever it was, from getting knocked out in sparring or not having more stricter testing over here in the U.S. Whatever the case was, you can look at his face before the fight started. He did not have a lot of confidence. He looked like he was not comfortable in the surroundings fighting outside of the UK. They know that for him to have any chance of bringing the old Anthony Joshua back, they need that fight to take place in the UK when AJ and his team know that they got the referees in his favor and they got the judges in his favor. Not to saying the referees are just getting paid off, but he just knows that he's got basically what they call home field advantage. Anybody that follows sports, you know what that means. You got the crowd behind you. You got the, you're playing in familiar surroundings. You're playing in a place that you practice at, stuff like that. That's what they call home field advantage. And, they have it in NFL and in the NBA. Those are real prevalent in those two sports. And that's what AJ's looking for in the UK, man. He's looking for that home field advantage. But the problem is that this here is more than home field advantage. This is about being an even playing field. Like I say, with the Dillian Whyte situation, Dillian Whyte failed a drug test. Didn't let his opponent know that he failed a drug test. Had a secret hearing. Opponent didn't know nothing about. Swept it under the rug. Went forward with the fight without his opponent knowledge that he had popped dirty. Had some systems. Had 2 illegal PED substances in his system. He got popped for substances which contained 2 illegal PED substances in his system. He got popped dirty for. And his opponent, Oscar Rivas, and his team didn't know nothing about it. Now they're threatening to sue Eddie Hearn, and they're going to be facing all kind of legal issues. So that's what it is. That's why Andy Ruiz wants this fight in the U.S. You always talk about the testing being weak over in the U.S. The thing is if it, when somebody pops dirty in the U.S., the opponent knows about it. Let's use for example. Everybody knows that Deontay Wilder's a clean fighter. Clean fighter, never pop dirty for anything. But let's just use him as an example. He fights Dominic Brazil. Okay? Deontay Wilder pops dirty for the test. You know what the Nevada Commission going to do? They're going to have a hearing just like the UK had a hearing. But everybody going to know that Deontay Wilder popped dirty for the test. The public going to know. Everybody going to know. They're going to have a hearing. That fight's not going to take place. Fight's not going to take place. That fight's going to get canceled. See, that's the difference. They're not going to try to go along with that fight and make that fight happen because, we got these people that bought the tickets and, we got to line our pockets up and we got to make money for matchroom boxing and this and that. And you're thinking about the money aspect instead of thinking about the human aspect. They're going to stop that fight. Look at the Canelo Alvarez Triple G rematch. Canelo Alvarez popped dirty. What they do, they had a hearing. They canceled the fight. Triple G was notified that, and the public was notified, and the world was notified that Canelo popped dirty. And that fight did not take place. And that fight there had way more money on the line than Oscar Rivas versus Dillian Whyte. And they stopped that fight from happening. So that's the difference. You talk about the tests being weaker over here and the tests being more strong over there, but it don't matter if they're more strong over there if you're not going to implement strict penalties for somebody failing the test. It's just like the test is weaker because it's like he didn't even fail the drug test. The fight still was allowed to go through. You put it on the BBBOC for approving of the fight. Okay then, but what do you as a promoter of the show? You could have stopped the fight. You could have canceled the fight. You could have notified Oscar Rivas and his people. At least gave him the opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to go home with the fight anyway. Just give me some more money or I'm going to pull out of the fight. Or Eddie Hearn, you could have did this. You could have pulled Dillian Whyte from the car and you could have pulled up Derek Chisora. Pulled him up from the co-main event and put him up there against Oscar Rivas. So if you were so worried about saving your show, and that could have been your main event fight, and that would have been a very entertaining fight. But you chose to go the other route, and now you're looking at you made a mountain out of a molehill, and you're looking at all kind of legal issues. Your reputation has been tainted. Your company's reputation has been tainted. You ain't gonna never get that back. Thinking about small picture, thinking about money. And now you're in a situation where you need your cash cow to get those titles back by hook or by crook. And now you put a battery in his back, like I said, to get him to talk to Sky News, come out the woodworks. And now he's protesting about Andy Ruiz not reluctant to come over there to the UK, saying he prefers the fight to be in Cardiff. But if he wants to fight in a neutral venue, that they might have to proclaim, they might have to, bow down to that, basically. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens, man. That's just my 2 cents on it, man. If I'm Andy Ruiz and Al Heyman, even if they do move to a neutral venue, I've got to have a say-so on the judges and the refereeing and the testing. We still gonna have those things. We still got the same things implemented in the UK and moved to another country, and we're running the show, Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn. We still gonna be facing the same problems and same problems if the fight was taking place in the UK. So they need to look into that and make sure everything is on an even playing field. I'm about to get out of here and get back to work, man. I just want to do a quick video, man. Got to talking about this. This is an issue that's it really needs to be addressed, man, and we'll see how it plays out in the coming days. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.